So when you're flipping houses and deals are harder to come by, you have to look at all your options. So this is a duplex that we're standing in front of right now that we're in the process of buying. We're gonna break down, is this a better single family or is it a better duplex? So without further ado, let's take you guys on a tour. We'll show you the good, the bad, the ugly. And this place is a little rough. The previous owner, to kind of give you some sort of background story. What's the story? It is an inherited property that was listed for sale. But as you can tell, the owner started to do some remodel work here. Not a half bad job. Like the brand new kitchen cabinets, appliances are brand new as well. So it's like he stuck some serious money into this. Electrical has been replaced. There's a new panel in the basement. And we're working through some issues right now on the place to determine if we're going to follow through on the purchase or if we're going to have to renegotiate due to private utilities, which I'll touch on later in this video. But on this particular deal, it's very rural. So we're out probably 10, 15 minutes from the closest city. So in my mind, what I'm thinking through, and I'll tour you guys around the place as I'm talking about this, most importantly is, as a rental property, as an upper lower duplex here, meaning that there's living quarters on the first floor, living quarters on the second floor.
You said you live right upstairs?
Is it going to be easy to rent when you're 10 to 15 minutes from the closest city? Maybe, maybe not. These units are extremely large. Like we were just in the kitchen. This is going to be a dining room area. We have a huge L-shaped living room and then kind of like I guess what would be a sitting area or like a porch. This probably was an old open porch at one point in the time, since looks like the insulation is actually water damaged up there, but
it has water damage.
The nice part about this one is most of the windows have already been replaced. All the electrical has been re-ran from what I can tell, at least so far. So from the finishing side of things, we'll just have to finish up this insulation. They already have the vapor barrier on it. So then we can start putting up some drywall on the walls, tape it, mud it. Yeah, the place, and this is one of the interesting components. So it's a really old, probably late 1800s style farmhouse.
I think it was made in the 1800s.
But all of this subfloor is moist right now. The basement's extremely damp. There is no dehumidifier running. No one's lived here for quite a few months, if not possibly a year even at this point. So you have moisture coming up through the subfloor, which might be able to dry out once our guys are in here working, or we might actually have to rip this stuff up, replace it, just so there's no like lasting mold, mildew, anything like that. So we got the living room. Taking you guys back into the two bedrooms. We are standing on the basement entrance right here. Little sketchy. Maybe worst case scenario, if it's kept as a single family house or whatever, we just have a hatch door here. Could be a possibility. But then we have one of the bedrooms, and there is no siding on that side of the house, which we'll show you later on in the video. We'll go through all the exterior stuff, but he had done fiberglass surround. This is all brand new. There is no plumbing currently running to this. So plumbing, electrical, all the miscellaneous fixtures, finishes. This will be a fairly extensive remodel, and that's where in my mind I'm thinking through, okay, as a duplex, what are we gonna rent these units for? Probably $1,200-1,300 for the main floor, maybe $1,000 for the upstairs, so about $2,300 total, versus as a single family house, what are we gonna be able to resell this for? So in my mind, single families are always going to be worth more than what duplexes are, just given the location, given the condition, given the circumstances. It's one water meter, one gas meter, one electrical, so the landlord would be responsible for all the utilities. And it's just kind of a strange layout it would be definitely a strange layout for a single family, but as a duplex, it might work a little bit better. It just depends on who your end buyer is. And then it goes into question, do we leave the upstairs kitchen, which we'll dive into with you guys, $150,000 purchase price, which I think is fairly competitive, especially if we can get about $2,300 a month in rent. So 150 purchase price, probably 60-ish thousand on a remodel. And that would include pretty much a cosmetic overhaul here on the upstairs level. We'll peel down this wallpaper because it's quite ugly.
Ugliness.
Paint, flooring up here, leave this kitchen that's behind us. Like none of this is too crazy or terrible, but probably leave all this, see what we can do with it, because it might make sense as like someone who has an in-law suite up here, older kids or a lot of kids, if Will's family of 20 would move into the place, it'd probably be nice to have 2 kitchens, but.
Are you serious, dude?
But yeah, I would like to know your guys' thoughts down in the comments. What would you do with this particular place? Would you keep it as a duplex? Would you keep it as a single family? Would you flip it? Would you rent it out? It's kind of what I'm trying to determine in my mind right now. Like I said, a lot of nice built-ins. They still have a little bit of stuff left here, but nothing in comparison to what was here before. Like even this flooring, honestly, we would probably rip it all up, replace it all, because it's just a very, very cheap laminate floor, which if it gets wet, it soaks up, it starts expanding, it looks terrible.
Just terrible.
So with all of these things, like as I'm walking through, as I'm looking at things for a 3rd time now, in my mind, as a flip property, say we buy it 150, you have 60, 65, maybe 70 stuck into it. We'll just say 70 for example purposes. So we're all in 220,000. I think if we flip this as a single family house, we're probably talking about a resale of 285. So we'll make 45, 50,000 after all expenses are paid, after commissions, holding costs, miscellaneous, closing cost credits, everything like that. So a pretty decent flip profit for very little marketing, because it's a real estate agent referral deal versus as a duplex. I think if you resell this place as a duplex, the highest comp that I could find in a nearby city, because again, this is rural, was 250 grand. So I'm like, in my mind, does it make sense to keep this as a duplex or just transition it into an actual single family? We just walked up the steps. So it's currently established as a single family house. It probably was never meant to be a duplex. The owner probably just converted it, whether they had a bunch of kids or for ease of use or whatever the case might have been. I would probably be more prone to flip the place.
Just flip it!
You don't necessarily want to put yourself in a position of being caught or stuck with a very old rental property that you don't know, is the appraiser going to say this place is worth 250, 300,000, 350, and then you're stuck, whether it's with money tied up in the place or just in a bad financial spot. And again, rental values or rental unit pricing on these particular deals is not easy to determine, because you're going off of what places in the city are renting for, which is going to be completely different than what places in the country could rent for. So the basement, as I was bouncing on it before, is a little bit of a cellar-like area. I guess it serves its purpose. But once you get down here, you're gonna see the true beauty of old Wisconsin real estate. We've got some timbers. I don't know if you guys can see this. These are actual tree timbers that they framed all these old houses with. You get the old freaking, like, this stuff is just built to last. It's been here for 100+ years. It'll probably be here for 100 more. What I'm trying to determine, and what Will and I are actually here today to see, is with this well, we have some moisture staining right here that looked like this line coming in from. Now this at one point I'm sure was open to another room. It no longer is. So I don't know if it's leaking somewhere in there or if it's groundwater that's coming in. The only suspicion is it's a little bit rusty. So unless they have some sort of metal piping on that other side, I don't know if it's the well water or not. It's not doing anything right now, so that's promising. At least we'll hang out for a little bit, but people were always worried because these are notorious for being damp or wet, but obviously if the walls are just field stones that you find outside and you build them, like you can see kind of the thickness right here, it is going to be damp. And that area that I was talking about in the living room was back a little bit, but you can see there's moisture staining all around here. There's water condensation on these lines. It's like raining in here on me. But yeah, very interesting place. And then we got the old oil tank. So in my mind, the best way to go about this, because these are this is empty. So the furnace is definitely not on. It's definitely not working, but the whole main floor was set up on the forced air furnace, which is probably shot. So we would have to actually run like a new LP tank outside, pipe in the LP gas to a brand new furnace, air conditioning system. So you're probably talking $7,000, $8,000 for that. But then here's the new electrical panel that ideally everything works in, but who knows at this point. So this is like one of those projects that you start uncovering so many different things. Why is this spray painted black? Could be a little bit of Flex Seal on there. But yeah, that is the basement here. Let's check out the outside together and then give you guys kind of the lay of the land. So obviously we need to finish the siding on this place. They just left it wide open. There's a nice hole right there. There's probably a bunch of critters living in it. But the rest of the sign, this is the only spot that they didn't finish, which is kind of unique. You got the old oil tank entrance right here. If you guys have never seen that, this is where they would actually fill up the oil tank if we kept that. But I think we are just going to pull that whole thing out of there, put like a LP tank back here, and then just trench it to the house. That's gonna be the easiest thing to do. And fortunately, the LP tanks, which kind of sit out in the yard, they're probably 500 gallons, 1,000 gallons, depending upon the size. You rent those from the actual LP company. So they don't really charge you any cost for the tank as long as you fill through them, which isn't too terribly expensive. But like even all this, here's another entrance door to the living room area as we were touring the place. I don't know who would ever use this. We're on a little bit busier highway, as you can hear, and that again comes into play with the numbers. We have a shit ton of dead trees out here. So maybe my father-in-law will come over, chop those down for us. Brother-in-law, pay him like $500-600 bucks. Take those babies down, as long as they don't land them on the road.
Timber!
But that's the way all these are freaking leaning right now. So we will see what the end product is. We're gonna go down in that basement one more time before leaving just to see if it's leaking. We got the old cellar door entrance into the basement. So after walking through everything on our side of things, my mind keeps going back to the fact of it's probably best off as a single family house. Now, what we'll probably do on the remodel side of things, because ripping out that kitchen upstairs is not gonna be economical. It's not gonna be worthwhile.
Not economically viable.
My thought is, hey, let's remodel this. We'll remodel the upstairs. We will leave the ability to keep this as a duplex if you want, with a little bit of upgrades or a little bit of remodel work. But traditionally this will be a single family resale. That's how we're gonna market it. It'll be 4 bedrooms, 2 full bathrooms, probably 2,600 finished square footage. So if we can roughly get a little over $100 per square foot when it's done on the resale side, we'll be sitting pretty. I don't foresee any reason why we can't, but that's where, as a newer investor, run through those things, ask the questions to real estate agents that you know or other investors that you know in the marketplace, determine if it's a good idea or not. And if you have questions, again, drop a comment down below, email me, carter@flipfoxvalley.com. Appreciate you guys tuning in as always. We'll catch you in the next one.